Today's story has its origins. Its origins in Tokyo, Japan in October 2018. The ever-modest, quiet 21-year-old. Yuka Takaoka lived in Shinjuku neighborhood. Shinjuku is not ordinary neighborhood in Tokyo. It's known for its packed clubs, karaoke bars, and upscale restaurants. All this beauty is wrapped up by an exaggerated pile of skyscrapers. Yuka was also living an extraordinary life. You could say that her life by Western standards. She dropped out of university at 19 to become the manager of a hostess bar in Shinjuku. Hostess bars are extremely popular establishments in East Asia's nightlife industry, so to speak, in the nightlife industry. The way they work is that their customers, mostly men, come in to hire women for money. But without the follow-through that you might be thinking of. The female hostesses are basically just serve drinks, give compliments, and engage in a pleasant dialogue with the customer. On top of that, Yuka was an anime fan on Twitter and Instagram. She often posted photos of herself cosplaying her favorite characters. Her accounts, by the way. Deleted to this day, so if you're interested in taking a look, there's a link to them in the description. Yuka was quite shy. It's the kind of personality where a person isn't very talkative, not very talkative at first, but over time, as trust and relationship building. She starts to open up. No one ever expected any trouble from her, and everyone she knew described her as a calm and extremely nice girl. Back to the anime. One of the most favorite types of cosplay for Yuki was yandere. The word yandere means a mentally unstable anime character. They're usually girls whose abnormality, under normal circumstances, but for the sake of their lover. They're willing to do for their lover. Have you guessed where this is going? In October of that year, a shift at the same hostess bar. 20-year-old man named Phoenix Runa. Phoenix was also working as a host at a hostess bar nearby. Now it should be clarified that a host bar is actually the same thing as a hostess bar, with one exception. They're targeting female customers. Phoenix, on the other hand, was extremely popular in Shinjuku, both behind the doors of his hostess bar, and even often appeared on the wall, of honor because there were so many of the girls who paid for his company would return to the same establishment for him. I will point out to you that this is all extremely safe jobs. Host bars and hostess bars have tons of security and are officially under police protection. As you can see, Yuka and Phoenix worked in the same industry. They understood each other at each other's throats, not only as man and woman, but also professionally, from a professional point of view. Later, they began to coordinate with each other's schedules so that they could spend time together outside of work. Soon, they become friends. About Yuki's abnormal attraction for the object of her adoration is evidenced by her personal diary and notebooks, the pages of which she wrote out in dedication to her boyfriend. It goes without saying that as the weeks and months of such encounters, the two grew closer to each other and eventually began to date. However, their relationship things weren't very smooth. Although they saw each other when their schedules allowed, the work was creating some tension between them. The thing is, even though both Yuka and Phoenix worked in the same industry, the other preferred to make money from flirting with the ladies at his host bar, which, as you can imagine, led to jealousy. And I'd say jealousy is an understatement. As the months went by, Yuka became more and more attached to him, and as a result, jealousy grew exponentially. It got to the point where she was checking what was going on his cell phone and even spying on him. And if that seems harmless to you, how about this? She would go to the bar where he worked and literally buying out his services for an entire month in advance, paying over $9,000 every month. And all just to keep any woman near his beloved Phoenix. A little weird, don't you think? Let's fast forward a little bit. May 23rd, 2019. It's been a few months since they started dating. things in the relationship were going surprisingly good, and even despite some misunderstandings, the couple was happy. Yuka continued to run at her hostess bar, and there were no problems with him too. Business was booming. She took a couple days off to clean up in her hotel room. That same day, she called Phoenix and invited him to come over and help her with his cosplay costume. And he, of course, didn't say no. Phoenix arrived at her place much later than she expected because of a long shift at the bar. When he walked in, he was pretty tired. Phoenix asked Yuka if he could take a bath at her place to relax her after work. She said yes. So he went in, took a bath, lay down, and fell asleep. Meanwhile, Yuka was going through her boyfriend's cell phone again. And that's when she found some photos of Phoenix with some other girl. Yuka didn't know who it was, and she knew for a fact that it couldn't be a client because she had, as usual, bought out Phoenix for the entire month. This discovery infuriated Yuka, considering that she had noticed how cold Phoenix had been to her the last couple days. She cross-referenced it with the photos and took them as proof of infidelity. So, if you suspect that your partner is cheating, you should discuss it with them. Ask them if everything's okay, right? Yeah, but not for Yuki. When Phoenix woke up, he put on his underwear, went to the bedroom and crawled into bed, trying not to wake Yuki, who seemed to be asleep. Exhausted by the recent, he fell into sleep in no time at all. Some time passed when Phoenix suddenly felt a sharp discomfort in his abdomen. He opened his eyes, looked down, and saw a knife sticking out from his abdomen. Abruptly waking up, he looked around horrified. He looked up and saw Yuka looming over him. Is this for real? Am I dreaming? Phoenix thought, driven by pure adrenaline. He pushed her away, jumped up out of bed, and ran out of the room. Yuka ran after Phoenix and grabbed him as soon as he crossed the threshold of the apartment. He was taller, he was stronger, and finally, with one more push, to free himself from Yuki's grasp, and rushed him towards the elevator. From that point on, Phoenix was losing a lot of blood. The elevator doors closed and he went to the first floor. When the doors opened, Phoenix rushed forward. Once almost to safety, he lost unconscious. Yuka caught up with Phoenix as he lay lying passed out in the middle of the hotel lobby. There was blood around his body. At that moment, a passerby noticed this horrifying scene, turned around and immediately called the police. But Yuka didn't run away. She sat down next to his body. The people who saw the scene were too scared to approach the couple, expecting Yuka to do something. There's an interesting photo from that moment. When the police arrived, they saw Yuka sitting next to Phoenix's body, covered head to toe in his blood and smoking a cigarette. A cigarette while talking on the phone with a friend. In the time it took for the police to get there, she had time to write a letter in his blood, repeatedly writing I love you over and over and over and again. When the Tokyo police realized what was going on, Yuka was immediately detained. Later, they would find a letter written with the same knife she used to stab Phoenix in that ill-fated hotel room. When a police officer asks her why she did it, Yuka will answer, I was very sad, and I wanted to die. I thought that if I killed, I could be with him. I thought that expressions like, I like you, and I'd like to be with you, would come true if we both died. Numerous witnesses watched as the police escort Yuka to the squad car, and when she got in, she was smiling. As for the victim, Phoenix Runa was by this point, alive by this point, but hanging on by a thread. When police and paramedics arrived on the scene, he was still not yet deceased from his injuries. He was taken to a local hospital where he remained lying in critical condition with a chance of survival 20%. But on July 1st, a little over a month after the incident, to everyone's surprise, Phoenix was alive and on the mend. He tweeted a message to friends and fans, "Sorry, but I'm alive and back." He then added, "My liver was stabbed, so now I can't drink." After going through the horrific experience, survivor Phoenix agreed to do an interview. In that interview, he did not show any hatred towards Yuki. On the contrary, when asked why he felt that way about her, he said that he didn't hold any grudge against her. He even begged the judge to commute the sentence. On Thursday, December 5th, 2019, the judge sentenced Yuka to 3.5 years in prison for attempted murder. Also, a condition reducing her time behind bars was the payment of 5 million yen to Phoenix, which is nearly 3.5 million. At her hearing, the judge said, "If it's possible, I want people to continue to have a normal life and not pay the price for their sins." And the story doesn't end there. After the attempted murder and Yuki's imprisonment, she gained a whole community of fans. Most of them are fans of anime culture who deeply admire her. She's called yandere in real life, and fans feel that she shouldn't be judged for what she's done. Instead, it's better to send Yuka to rehab. Yuka Takaoka is scheduled to be released from prison in May 2023. Let me know what you think about this girl in the comments, and don't forget to like and subscribe to see more content like this in your feed. Thanks for watching.